Hello, welcome back to Student of the Gun Radio, and I thank you for being out there in the Student of the Gun audience. I thank you for being a student of the gun. And if this is your first time listening, welcome. We are glad that you are here, but we're going to warn you, we're going to admonish you that it's going to take more than one, even two, maybe even three listens to Student of the Gun Radio to get it. If you really want to get it, you're going to have to stick with us for, what would you say, Jared? 4 or 5?
I would go ahead and say 59.
Jared says you have to stick with us for 59 episodes, but I would say safely at least 4 or 5 episodes before you pick up on what is sarcasm and what is not sarcasm, because every once in a while you're going to get a little bit of sarcasm is going to be laid down on you here, and if you don't dig sarcasm. Or if you have the sense of humor of a liberal Democrat, you're probably not going to get it. What do you think, Jared?
Yeah, I would think. Well, we were chastised by one single person recently that we don't. I don't remember what
respect
he said.
Women.
Yeah, we don't respect women or something. And
we love women.
Obviously, he didn't listen to the episode that we recorded from the kitchen.
Oh, obviously, because if he would have listened to that episode, then he would know that we always respect women. We respect the women's movement, especially from behind.
Yeah.
All right, I stole that one from Rush, who probably stole it from somebody else. But welcome back to another thrill-packed episode of Student of the Gun. We're a little bit giddy. Jared and I actually we have the smell of burnt powder on and about our persons right now because we just got back from the Mississippi Combat Training Academy, MCTA, which is as you guys know, if you're fans, it's my buddy Mike's, hits his range. We were out today with a bunch of our friends. We did a little bit of training. We went through some training drills, and we did some filming for the upcoming season, the new season of Student of the Gun TV. So check that out. You want to keep a sharp eye out for that. That's going to be in a couple of weeks. Jared, you want to talk about anything cool that we did today? Let me see. What did we use today? We were out there with our what? Lots of stuff.
About the.
We're going to talk about the Patriot Arsenal in the second half specifically.
Okay, so we don't want to talk about that right
now.
No,
we don't want to get into.
Well, that'll give them something to look forward to.
Okay, but well, before we get into it, we want to take a moment to thank our good friends at Keltec Weapons in Cocoa, Florida. Thank them for sponsoring Student of the Gun Radio. Colt Manufacturing, the makers of the LE 901 308 semi-automatic rifle. You want to check that out at Colt.com. Crossbreed Holsters, of course, of Republic, Missouri. They've been our friends for a long time. Crossbreed, folks, if you don't know anything about Crossbreed, you should. You should go to crossbreedholsters.com and check out their holsters. But Crossbreed actually has been with us since the very beginning. My good friend, my dear departed friend, Mark Craighead, he signed on with us in season 1 of Student of the Gun TV. Before we were even on the air, we were just recording for the future show. Mark Craighead was there, and he dug what we were laying down. He appreciated what we were saying, and we're very pleased that Crossbreed has signed on with us again for another season. They've been with us since the very beginning, and we appreciate them being there. Now, another company that's been with us for a long time is XS Sights. XS Sights, the fastest sights in any light. And if you're, like I said, if you're new, and I don't think we talked about this last week, Jared, did we talk about what they get in the Good Guy package and how to get it?
I don't think we did.
Yeah, I think we were remiss because Jared wasn't feeling good last week. But the XS Good Guy of the week, Jared goes to the forums. He picks out a question. If we read your question, then you are the Good Guy of the week, and you get a super cool Good Guy pack from XS Sights, which is it's like a backpack deal and like a patch and a T-shirt and pens and
stickers.
Stickers. Yeah, their brand new catalog, a bunch of goodies and so forth.
We don't even have a Good Guy pack, do we?
No, I don't have a Good Guy pack.
I would like to know what is in those if you have one or if you've received one. Just shoot me an email.
Well, I know for sure that there's a T-shirt because
I know there's
Officer
a hat.
John took a picture of himself in his T-shirt.
T-shirt, hat,
and that's right. I forgot T-shirt, hat. Anyway, and they might mix it up a little bit. You know, they've all the swag, the Excess Sites swag that they throw in there. But what we're going to do right now is Jared is going to tell us who our good guy of the week is, and what was their question, Jared?
Our good guy of the week this week is James, and he posted his question in the forum. James, if you could send me your shirt size, mailing address, phone number, and I will get that over to Excess Sites as soon as possible. He wants to know, what do you guys think about concealing a CCW badge for a critical defense situation to maybe calm the public after publicly defending myself? Would that maybe cause more legal conflict in the courts if something ever happened?
That is a question that comes up quite often. And it's one of those situations or those deals where people think that it's reasonable, or they're like, well, if it's not a good idea, they wouldn't have ads for them in, Combat Handguns magazine. They wouldn't have ads for these CCW badges if they weren't a good idea, right? I was at a class. I was at Jaeger's class. You remember that? Were you there, Jared, that year for the fighting pistol? This has been a couple of years ago, when the guy came out, or maybe it was a lady, and had a concealed carry badge on her belt.
I don't think I was there for that one, because I would definitely remember the conversation.
I think Paxton was there. Yeah, and it was probably Jay. Walked over and looked and said, "Are you a cop?" "No, this is a concealed carry badge." And he's like, "That's probably not." He goes, "Why do you think that's a good idea?" And she's like, "Well, the guy in the store told me it was a good idea." And he said, "So the guy who wanted you to buy the concealed carry badge for $39.95 told you that it was a good idea to have one?" "Yeah." "Okay."
Well, I mean, obviously, if you have a badge, then you're a good guy.
Well, here's the problem. In most states, now every state has their own individual laws, and they're written differently, but most of them have pretty much the same angle to them, or the same implications. And if you go out and either personate or impersonate, now the word personate and the word impersonate are both used in the law. If you personate a peace officer or a police officer, or if you present yourself to others so that they would assume or believe that you are a police officer when in fact you are not, if you knowingly do this, then you could be charged with personation of a peace officer. And that is indeed a crime. Now, you say, well, but it says on it. It says concealed carry weapon permit holder. Okay, cool. I got you there. But you say, so what are you trying to say with the possession of this badge? What are you trying to say? Are you trying to show this badge and show the world, look at me, I'm a concealed carry weapons holder and I have a badge to prove it? Well, no. You're doing that because you want, let's be honest with yourselves, you think that if people just see a flash of it or see it from a distance or can't read it, that they will assume that you're a police officer. Now, I don't know every state, obviously. I don't know the laws in every state. But I know in Florida and in Ohio, when I lived there, and they have their concealed carry permit legislation, that it is absolutely unlawful, and it's written into the concealed carry permit statutes in those states, to hold yourself out as a police officer, or to, I believe I can't remember if it was Ohio or Florida, but one of the states specifically designates that it is not lawful to wear any kind of a badge or carry a badge that would, to the common person, make them believe you're a police officer. But here's the deal, folks. You don't need a badge to defend yourself. If you use that badge to try and, quote, calm people down, think you're in charge because why? Because you're a concealed carry holder and you're a citizen, that's why? No. If you hold yourself out there as a police officer and you are not a police officer, you will get in trouble. When it all shakes out, You don't need it. It's not really worth it. It's not something, I'm not going to hammer this into the ground, but I'm going to tell you this. It's either something that's unnecessary and can get you in hot water, or is absolutely illegal because your state may say specifically that it is unlawful for you to hold yourself out with anything such as a badge, so that people would think that you are a police officer when in fact you are not. No, so we've dealt with the concealed carry badge thing. It's not a good idea. I would not buy one. I would not carry one. Now, what about other things that people do when they get a concealed carry permit? And this is especially for the new folks, the folks who, they spent all of their training. They spent 37 years training in front of the television and the movie screen. And so they think that they know how citizens are supposed to behave when they have guns on them based upon what? Well, based upon movies and television and what have you. They've seen 8,000 TV shows where people did this or that. And you get this at concealed carry permit classes, or you get this at, at training sessions where people will say things like, well, what about citizen's arrest? What about citizen's arrest? When can I effect a citizen's arrest? And, so forth. And really, most states do have a specific statute that covers a quote-unquote citizen's arrest. And generally, it is in the active commission of a felony. And you're like, what's the active commission of a felony? Well, first of all, you have to know what a felony is. But you can be pretty sure that if there is a weapon involved or some type of sexual assault involved, like, for instance, rape is a felony. Kidnapping is a felony. Armed robbery is a felony. Attempted murder is a felony, and so on. Burglary and what have you. Now, here's the problem. Even if you're 100% in the right and you're trying to arrest someone, have you been trained to arrest people? Well, unless you are actually a police officer, you probably have not been trained on how to arrest people, how to temporarily incarcerate people, how to put them into custody. And if you attempt to do that, you may put yourself in a greater position of harm. But people think, because they have this image in their heads that, well, now that I can carry a gun legally, I can legally carry a gun on me, I can effect citizen's arrests. Folks, get that out of your head. Get the whole citizen's arrest thing out of your head. Flush it out of your head.
If you can lawfully carry a firearm and you decide that you want to make a citizen's arrest, what do you have to do to make that citizen's arrest?
You asking me?
No, asking the audience.
Well,
you can't do that when you have two hands on your firearm.
Well, you would have to. I mean, you want to you could just point your gun at them and tell them to stay where they're at. Now, here's the deal. Are you saying, should I not point my gun at someone and tell them to stay where they're at? No, I'm not telling you that. What I'm also telling you is the chances of the bad guy just surrendering to you and laying on the ground and waiting for the police to show up, pretty slim. Generally, very rarely will they do that.
Remember what Paul talks about in his Armed Living DVD. There's 3 types of criminals, and you don't know what kind the criminal is going to be until you have to deal with it.
Right. Some of them will surrender at the sight of a firearm. You produce a firearm, they're like, oh, I'm out. I don't want to play anymore. Some of them will surrender only when they receive an injury from that firearm, whether it's life-threatening or not. They bleed, and they're like, oh, I don't want to play anymore. I'm bleeding. This isn't cool. And then there are some that are not going to stop until they're physiologically incapacitated, until they are flat out of gas, until the transmission and the engine have been disrupted and destroyed. The problem is you don't have any idea who you're facing until the fight starts. And you may be facing someone that is not going to stop until they are physiologically damaged to the point that they can no longer continue. Physical. But then you have the psychological stop. You produce a gun. And fortunately for you out there, fortunately for all of us, the vast majority of bad guys you encounter are going to be like a level 1. you produce force, you display force by a gun, and they're like, I'm out. I'm not going to play anymore. I'm done. Now, very rarely are they just going to wither and fall into the ground and say, oh, please, Lord, don't shoot me. What they're going to do is they're going to turn around. They're going to beat feet and get out of there. And that's cool. It's a win for you. They beat feet and get out of there, and you're safe. Now, remember, keep in mind, there's a difference between fleeing and seeking better cover. Don't assume just because someone moves away from you that they are fleeing from you. They may be looking to get something between you and them, cover, because good guys should be looking for cover, right? So that they can engage you with their firearm. So there is a difference there. But affecting us, get the whole citizen's arrest thing out of your mind. It's just going to cloud your thoughts. And when it comes to that, I mean, I've had people, well, now that I have a concealed carry, permit, should I carry handcuffs? And I'm like, dude, what are you going to carry handcuffs for? Well, if I have to make a citizen's arrest. Like, have you been through like handcuff training, and are you going to have a partner to cover you? And what are you thinking? Well, no, but just in case, dude, stop yourself. You're losing focus. You are losing focus on the whole point. The point of the exercise is to keep yourself and your loved ones and family members safe from harm. That is the point of the exercise of being an armed citizen. Everything else is secondary. And if they want to run away, let them run away. Just keep yourself safe. And when you get all these thoughts about, I'm going to, exercise a citizen's arrest and all that, get it out of your head. And what do we say about use of force? You're either justified in using deadly force or you're not. It's not like it's not your job as a citizen to arrest bad guys. It's your job to keep yourself safe. Now, Jared, we got enough on that one? You want to make one more comment, or are we good to go?
I think we're pretty good on that one. Let's move along to the next story, which is about the Dollar General crime scene here.
Okay, let's go to the Dollar General. And this actually it's a good lead-in. This story was reported here recently. Actually, it's just not the first time that a bad person has been shot at a Dollar General. Was a dollar store or a Dollar Tree or dollar something, and it wasn't in Alabama. It was a different one where a guy was robbing it, and his family came out, because this story here comes to us from IJreview.com. And what's the date line on this story, Jared? I can't see it. Oh, well, it says, as I pull this up, it says 1 week ago. But essentially, people are shopping in a dollar store. They're picking up toilet paper or freaking dishwasher soap or whatever it is you buy, coffee creamer because you forgot, whatever it is you buy at the dollar store. So they're in there, and in walks Joe Dirtbag. And Joe Dirtbag pulls out a gun and he says, everyone in the back. And he starts directing people into the back of the store. This is when things are about to go bad for you as the individual. We've talked about this before, but we're going to talk about it again, because apparently not everyone gets it. Based upon the hundreds, if not thousands, of comments on the internet on this story, people apparently don't get it. Well, the good news is somebody in the store, a citizen, had a gun, and they were lawfully carrying concealed. And they shot the bad guy, and now the bad guy he's room temperature, right, Jared?
Yes.
Yeah, he is currently room temperature. So go team. Now, as a quick aside, I'm gonna drop this out there, because when we posted the story on Facebook originally, when it first came out, someone jumped in there like, hey, but you didn't know that the guy who was a concealed carrier has been accused of a sexual crime and so forth, and said da-da-da-da-da. I'm like, okay, that may be true, but it doesn't change the circumstance of the story. Now, if the guy with the gun helped the bad guy round everyone up and put him in the back room, okay. But it doesn't change, that may play out that this guy who used the gun to defend everybody gets convicted of a crime. Okay, we'll deal with that, but it doesn't change the story. The story is a person who was lawfully carrying a gun stopped a felon from herding everyone into the back room. And this is where we need to talk about secondary crime scenes. And this is, I learned the term secondary crime scene when I was in the police academy. And one of the detectives told us, he said, look, Chances of a victim surviving after being moved to a secondary crime scene are very, very slim. They said it was something crazy, like a 90% mortality rate when people were moved to a secondary crime scene. You say, well, what are you talking about, Paul? I'm not a cop or a detective. What is this secondary crime scene thing? Okay, I'll give it to you like this. You're in a restaurant. You're sitting there with your family, munching on your cheeseburgers or whatever, and having a good time. And two pieces of human filth burst in, and they start waving guns. Well, if they were just there to rob the place, they would get the money as quick as they could, get as much money as fast as they can, and get out. Because what do they know? The longer they stay on scene, the greater the chances are that Johnny Law is going to roll up and give them trouble, and they don't want that. So they want to get the money, get what they need, and get out. Okay, fantastic. Unless they don't. Well, what do you mean unless they don't? Well, if they have the opportunity to rob the register and get out, and they don't take that opportunity, instead they turn on the audience, on you guys out in the dining room, now you're in trouble.
There's a dining room at a Dollar General?
No. All right. Wow, really? Did you just come out of your cloud?
No, I'm just kidding.
Okay, I was like, I know that sometimes you're over there really focused, but yeah, I'm giving a hypothetical here. Remember I said they're chewing on a hamburger?
I just had to throw in a bone there.
I don't know it was not a bone. That was a boner on your part or something.
I gotta keep you on your toes.
Yeah, I am on my toes, you hippie. All right, now listen up. So if they decide to turn the guns on the audience, now things are going bad. Because they had the opportunity to get the money and run, and they changed their minds or decided they weren't going to do it. They start spending their time dealing with you or dealing with the audience, dealing with the crowd. The longer that they stay there, the greater the chances are that they will kill you. And I've told my children this, I've told my wife this, my spouse. If you are ever at your work and somebody comes in with a gun, they're like, give us all your money. Okay, they got the drop on you. There's nothing you can do. Great. If they have the drop on you and they say, back into the back room, everyone back into the freezer, into the storeroom, they're not taking you back there to set up a card table and play pinochle, okay? They're taking you back there so they can kill you, leave your body back there, and no one will discover it for a while, and they can get away. That is what they're doing. That's what you're being set up for. Or if you're a woman, or even a man, but mostly a woman, if they take you back there, they're going to sexually abuse you and then possibly kill you. At the moment, if you're in a situation where the bad guy appeared, you didn't see him coming, they got the drop on you, okay, that stinks. But if they'd say, all right, everyone back into the back room, into the alley, into the van, into the whatever, if they try and move you from the place where they found you to another place, you're about to die. And it's time to start fighting. Fight with whatever you have. Forks, knives, kitchen knives, baseball bats. I don't care. You'd better start fighting, because if they get you into that van, into that alley, into that walk-in reefer, you're going to die. Get it through your head. We have to be, well, you don't know. Well, I don't know. What is your life worth? Is your life worth a gamble? Is it worth it? Well, maybe I can talk him down. Well, maybe you can. And then again, maybe you can't, because based on criminal history, this isn't me talking. This isn't me. Paul just making this stuff up. Ask a cop if you know a cop. Ask a detective if you know a detective. Ask him what the chances are of you surviving when they tell you to get in the walk-in reefer or the back room or what have you. And this is what was going on here. Now, maybe he wouldn't have, but are you willing to bet your life on a maybe? Are you willing to bet your life on the charity of a piece of human debris who's robbing the dollar store? I'm not. Maybe you are, but I'm not. So get that in your head there. Now, we got a story coming up here, and it's one of our new favorite.
Yeah, there's so much to say about this, but he speaks for himself, really.
Well, before we get into it, let's go ahead and drop it like it's hot.
Tiptoe through the window, by the window, by the
All right, that was Tiny Tim dropping the beats. That's right. Yo, yo, Tiny Tim dropping the beats on us. And what does that mean? That song means we've got another vagination report coming to us from, again, West Virginia. Because Danny D-Bag Jones, the mayor of West Virginia, just won't quit. This dude, we need to get him, a year's supply of Depends or something, Jared? What do you think? A year's supply of Depends?
Depends, and some Kotex.
Because he's just peeing his panties up there. He is just tinkling all in his panties because the governor of West Virginia and the state house and Senate just passed basically, everyone's calling it pro-gun legislation. What all it really is it's clarifying the legislation in the state. And we talked about this already. And we talked about it last week. That it's not that earth-shattering. It's not that big of a deal. But Danny, see, here's what we know. What do we know about politicians? What do we know about career politicians? Is they've always got their hand out and they're always looking for somebody to put money in their checking accounts. They're always looking for people to fill up their reelection campaign funds. And going back several months, the last year to season 1 of Student of the Gun Radio, we spent a little bit of time talking about Governor Lickenbottom in Colorado and how he was getting exploratory presidential campaign money from Nanny Bloomberg up there in New York. What Nanny Bloomberg likes to do is Nanny Bloomberg likes to funnel money to these sycophants and into their reelection campaigns. If they'll toe the line, if they'll toe his big nanny state no guns line, if they'll get on board with him, he'll funnel them money. And what I would bet, if I was a betting man, I would bet that if you look at Danny D-Bag, if you look at Danny D-Bag Jones in his reelection campaign fund, find out how much of that reelection campaign fund money comes from Nanny Bloomberg and Nanny's his organizations, his political PACs, and so forth. Because what we know about Danny D-Bag Jones is that he is just peeing his pants over the change in the law that says someone who has a concealed carry permit, who's gone through all the hoops, the fingerprinting and the photographing and the background checking and the mandatory training and so forth, that they can now lawfully carry into a state or a city recreation area. And it's just killing him that they're doing that. Now you're saying, well, so they can walk into a courthouse inside the Capitol building, go to the floor of the Senate. They can walk into the mayor's office with guns now legally, right? No, they can't. The only real change, and this is the one that Danny is just killing him, is that they can go into these rec centers or recreational areas or parks or what have you. And what we're going to do, Jared's going to go ahead and he's going to drop a little bit of audio here from a recent television interview that Danny did.
There's so much in this one video. The video is like 8 minutes and 50 seconds or something. And about 8 minutes and 49.9 seconds is him whining, peeing down his leg. So I'm going to drop a little bit in, but I need you guys to go watch this whole video.
Okay.
What happens if a person walks up to a rec center with a gun?
It's against the law. They can't take it in.
Right. And under this law, it's still they can't
No,
take
it's
it.
not.
Well,
Bro, you're not a lawyer. That's not what it says.
It's clear
now,
to
we've
me.
dealt with this. What are you? You're a state senator. You're the one taking orders. You're the one
doing this.
And you're the ones driving it. You're the one taking marching orders from the National Rifle Association.
So what you've got here is you got Danny D-Bag Jones, who sits down on a panel. There's him, and then there is the Senate Majority Leader John Unger from West Virginia, who is a Democrat. He's got a capital D behind his name. And I believe, doesn't Danny D-Bag have a capital R behind his name? Pretty sure that he does. I think, according to this story, I believe that he has a capital R behind his name. And this is how upside down the world is up there in West Virginia. But you got Danny D-Bag, you got John Unger, and then you have the host of the show, and they're talking about the change in the law that Earl Ray Tomlin, the governor up there, has just signed. And actually the governor up there has a big D behind his name. And you know what I got to think, Jared? I've got to think. Go ahead. What?
I was just going to say what?
No, I've got to think that when you've got somebody with a capital D behind their name, and they not only endorse but put their name, sign their name on pro-gun legislation or any legislation that doesn't ban guns or restrict people's ability to own guns, when somebody with a capital D does that, do you think it drives somebody like Nanny Bloomberg like right straight up the wall? Let's face it, I feel pretty certain that Nanny Bloomberg thinks that he's got all the D's in his pocket, and when this happens, it's got to drive him crazy, and that could be why Danny D-Bag here, why he is just so flummoxed. He can't believe that these guys that they're actually going to support the citizen. And one of the things that Jones says is he keeps harping on, well, if one of these people come in there, then you have to tap them on the shoulder. He keeps saying that, like, I don't know who's tapping people on the shoulder, and ask them to leave. You can't just arrest them. I believe at least once or twice he says that. So looking into the soul of Danny D-Bag Jones here, what we see is he believes that any citizen who's carrying a gun, that the police should be able to arrest them whenever and wherever they want to, just for having a gun on them. According to his thought process, the person that went through all that rigmarole, spent the money, fingerprints, photos, training, all that jazz, get your permit, he thinks that you can't be trusted. And Jared brought this up. Jared, what did you say when we were doing the pre-show notes? You brought this up about what nobody asks D-Bag in this, and the one basic question that they should have asked him, and it could have just shut him up, maybe.
Probably not, but why didn't any of those two people sitting there ask him if he truly believed that a sign would stop a criminal from bringing a gun into the rec center? Because that's what he was worried about.
Yeah. So, I mean, someone should have just said, look, Danny, do you believe that a big shiny sign will stop a criminal, a potential murderer, a registered Democrat, such as the one in Aurora, Colorado, or in Newtown, or in Phoenix, or you name it, or let me see, Washington, D.C., one of these registered Democrats, is that sign going to stop them from committing a mass murder attack in there? Do you believe that sign will stop them? And I want him to ask somebody, come on, get the guts and ask these people, do you think that your shiny signs are going to stop murderers? Well, see, and that therein is the problem, folks, is you have people like Danny Jones here, and they are so worried and so wound up about these concealed carry people and these citizens having guns. But no one ever says, well, okay, let's take them out of the people that obey the law. Let's take the people that obey the law out of the equation, and let's talk about the people that don't obey the law. Are we not supposed to be worried about them? So in Danny D-Bag Jones's world, we're supposed to be more worried about the dad or the mom who wants to pick their kid up from a rec center and they happen to have a concealed carry permit on them. They're concealing a gun. That is what we should be worried about in Danny Jones's world. Not the psychos, not the lunatics, not the registered Democrats. What's that crap that they did up in New York, Jerry, where the socialist turds protested Wall Street? Occupy.
Occupy.
Yeah,
Wall
not
Street.
these Occupy people. They're not the ones we should be worried about. It's the mom and dad that have a concealed carry permit. Those are the people that we need to concern ourselves with. And when it comes to Vagination Awards, Danny D-Bag, I think he's going to go into it. We haven't told you guys yet, but I'm going to go ahead and tell you now. You know why? Because I like you. That's right, I do. This week when we were preparing the show, Jared and I decided that it was time. It is time to have an official award show. This is going to be the first ever award show hosted by Student of the Gun. And we're going to give out a Vagination Award. Now, this is going to be not a report, but we actually have a trophy. I'm looking at the trophy right now. I am looking at the Vagination Award trophy. Think of it like the Academy Awards, only more important.
Yeah, exactly.
And who are we going to invite? Now, this is too big of a show to just do by ourselves. So we've got two guys that we want to invite. Jared, tell them who we're going to invite.
Well, of course, we're gonna invite our buddy Zeke and Buck Daniels over there from Talking Lead, or Buck Naked as he likes to be called.
Okay, all right.
Our buddy Zeke and Left Hand.
Zeke and Left Hand from Talking Lead Radio. Yeah, we. I don't know if they're even hip to the Buck Daniels thing, are they? All right. Well, the dedicated listeners will be. Because when we were at the SHOT Show, we were teasing Marty Left Hand about how he looked like a country music star. He had his boots on and his jeans, and he had his tweed sport coat.
His long, wavy golden
his
locks.
long, luscious hair there. And, we told him that he looked like Buck Daniels, upcoming country music star. So but anyway, yes, we're putting it together right now. We're putting it together. And you know what? I just had a great idea, Jared. You know how the Student of the Gun audience likes to get involved? Tell you what, here's what we're going to do for you guys. We're going to open it up, and you can nominate because we like you. We know you guys out there. We're going to let you nominate people or events or what have you for the official Vagination Awards.
That's a good idea.
So I know it just came out of my mouth.
I'll let that one slide. He caught me off guard.
I got him off guard there. But yeah, all right, we're going to hold this off for 2 weeks. So from the time you hear this, we're going to hold it off for 2 weeks. So if you have suggestions for people that are just so vag-tastic that they need an award, go ahead and put them in, and we'll put them in the hopper. But there's only going to be one winner at the end of the day.
How about we give it? I have an idea. How about we'll do the award ceremony at NRA show, because I'm pretty sure that they're going to be recording their stuff there. We could just sit in with them.
Ooh, that is a good idea, and that's like 2 weeks away, right?
It's 3 weeks away.
3 weeks away. Okay, so we've got 3 weeks. So tell you what, we'll open up the lines. Not open up the lines. You know what I'm talking about. You guys put your Vagination Award nominees.
I'll make a thread in the forum, and then also do it on the mobile app too. Those are two easiest for me to check.
Okay, and what we'll do is we'll get with Zeke and we'll get with Left Hand, and we'll plan on doing, as of course, we're just dropping this right now on the radio, but we'll plan on doing our Vagination Awards special edition of Student of the Gun from the NRA show.
I know something, but I'm not sure if I'm supposed to tell everybody, so I'll keep it a secret for another week. If you want to hear it, come back and listen next week.
Okay. There was an open-ended one there. Now, how much time we got left, Jared? How we doing, brother?
We're running up on 39 minutes right now.
39 minutes. Okay. Well, we're going to talk about this next story, and this comes to us from theblaze.com. And if you are a hip student of the gun, and a lot of you are, because I know that you'll send us little notes or what have you, and recently someone sent us a note in there about security half measures, and we talked about this on Student of the Gun Radio. There's genuine security, and then there's the illusion of security or security half measures. And the illusion of security is much easier. It's cheaper, it's less expensive, it requires less dedication on the part of the people involved. So what you normally have, rather than security, is you have the illusion of security, or you have these, what we call half measures. It's the old, well, we have to do something, Well, what? Well, I don't know. We have to do something. So what they do, just recently, I read an article by a good friend of mine, John Farnham, and he said, don't confuse movement with action. And that is, it was a different article. He wasn't talking about security measures, but he said, he used the term, don't confuse movement with action. And I thought that was a great term, and it kind of applies to this. What we had here, and this comes to us from theblaze.com. It says, security guard hired to reduce violence suffers fractured skull at hands of teen. But how the rest of the students react is the most disturbing. And we're assuming that a lot of you guys that are our listeners are also fans of the Blaze. But in case you didn't see it, what you had a high school, and I believe it is in Philadelphia. Yeah, Bartram High School in Philadelphia. And they have a big problem there. They have a teen delinquency and truancy problem, and they have problems with gangbangers and so forth. So what do we know about the public schools? What do we know about schools? Is that and what do we know basically about liberals in general is they don't want to hold people responsible for their behavior. They want to hold everything else responsible. They want to hold the circumstances, and they want to hold society, and they want to hold inanimate objects responsible. But they never want to hold humans responsible for their actual behavior, because what? What do we know psychologically? We know that they cannot hold other humans responsible for their behavior, because if they do that, then they open the door for themselves being held responsible for their behavior, and that is not what they're all about. So what they do instead is they hire security guards, and the gentleman in question, the one who had his skull broken open, is a 63-year-old man who has been hired to be, and they have a specific name for him. I don't think they call him a security guard in there. He is, what is he, Jared? What did they call him in this? They called him a something. It's like a counselor or what have you. Help me out here.
It says,
He's like a conflict resolution counselor. I think that's what they use in the story, because there's a video that accompanies it. We're not going to play that right now, but I think he was a conflict resolution counselor, and he's 63 years old. Now you say, well, what does age have to do with it? Well, age has a lot to do with it. I'm sorry, if you're out there and you're 63 years old or 64 or 62, I think the last thing you probably want to be doing is going hand to hand with a 17 or 18-year-old kid. Let's face it, speed and strength are on the side of youth. They're not necessarily that smart or that wise or that intelligent, but they are fast and they are strong. And if you don't think a 17 or an 18-year-old kid could kill you, you better flush out your head, because they absolutely could. So what have we got here? We have a known problem. We have a situation where they're, quote, out of control. The school is like out of control with violence. And so they hire a guy, a 63-year-old man, to be a conflict resolution counselor type person. And the conflict resolution counselor type person gets basically his skull broken. And as of press time, we don't know. We said he was in serious condition in a local hospital, and we don't know what his condition is at the moment. But folks, here's the deal. If your school or the local school is so out of control, you need to grab the bull by the horns. You need to take care of business. But that's not what we're all about today. What we're all about today is we're about making excuses. And you're like, well, what are you supposed to do? Let me see. Identify the troublemakers, remove them from the school, and incarcerate them. Oh, that's not the answer. That's not the answer. Well, I don't know. Maybe busting open the heads of 63-year-old counselors and security guards, maybe that's the answer. Maybe that's the answer. Maybe we need to stop coddling these scumbags. Maybe. Maybe we need to start holding people responsible for their behavior and stop giving them a pass. Oh, you don't understand. It's their environment, or they're poor, or they're this, or they're that. You know what? It's a crutch. Bullcrap. Stop it. Some of the greatest Americans in history started out dirt poor. So don't give me that garbage. It's not about how much money you have. It's about how much morality you have. And what do we know about Philadelphia? All right, Philadelphia, the city of brotherly love. And people say that with a wink and a smile because it's a joke. It's a cesspool. It's horrible. You're not supposed to think about it. You're supposed to think about Philadelphia, the Liberty Bell, and all that jazz. And, Ben Franklin. That's what you're supposed to think about when you think about Philadelphia, or maybe Rocky. You're not supposed to think about the fact that it is literally a freaking drug-infested, crime-infested cesspool that's been run by, capital D Democrats for what, 4 decades, 5 decades, something like that. But yeah, we have we thought you dedicated hardcore students of the gun would appreciate that story that came to us from the Blaze right there. Now we're going to give you one more before we let you go, and this is about the first. This came to us from GunsSaveLives.net, and this details or recounts the first ever recorded defensive use of a handgun by a lawful concealed carry permit holder in Illinois. Ooh, drum roll, please. And I know you're excited, but turned out right here, according to the story, gentleman, and this was in the Chicagoland area. We don't know if it was actually in Chicago proper, but a Chicago concealed carry permit holster, according to the Chicago Tribune, a 53-year-old man legally used deadly force to defend himself. And you're like, well, how many bad guys did he smoke? Well, he didn't really smoke any of them. The situation was he was at home in his front yard, Jared?
He was moving from his home to his garage, I believe.
Oh, so he's going from his house to his garage when
I'm sorry, from his garage to the front of his home. So
okay, so he drives up to his garage, gets out, and he's walking into his house, and 2 adult male scumbags, let's say they were dirtballs.
Hooded scumbags.
2 scumbags with a hoodie show, and one of them pulls out a gun. Yep.
One of the 2 men pulled out a handgun.
Okay, one of the 2 dirtballs pulls out a gun, and so the homeowner, he pulls out his gun and fires at them, and they flee and they run away, and police are now trying to find them. Have they as of press time, have they been captured?
I'm not sure.
I don't believe so. We don't have, according to the story, we don't have whether or not they were captured. So the males fled the area without being struck by bullets, and police responded to the matter and immediately determined that the man was a valid firearms head. And here's the thing: is they went through his whole pedigree. The man had a valid firearms owner's identification card, a valid concealed carry permit, and police were able to determine that he complied with the required concealed carry class and proper training. Whew, that's a whole mouthful there. So he had jumped through all the numerous hoops up there to have a 10-shot pistol on him. Is it only 10 shots in Illinois? You guys tell me. I don't know.
So one of the things I wanted to talk about, or I wanted you to talk about to our audience, is this guy, he completed a required concealed carry class. Okay, right? So,
yep.
But he still missed both of his targets.
Well, and you say, well, is it okay to miss? Well, yeah, I mean, it's not. I wouldn't recommend it as a tactic. I wouldn't recommend missing as a tactic. What we had here was we had a couple of what we'll call level 1 bad guys. They surrendered or fled at the display of force, and apparently the bullets whizzing by them. And they said, enough is enough, and we're out of here. And that's great. Go team moment. However, if they would have decided we're not impressed by your lack of marksmanship and pressed the fight, it might have been a different situation altogether. And I'm not harping on this guy. I'm glad that he's alive. Go team. He used his gun. He was lawful. Did everything he was supposed to do. Good job. But keep in mind that a concealed carry permit class is not training. It's not training. People think that. They're like, well, have you had training? Yeah, I did. I went through my concealed carry permit class. It's not really training. It's education. But when it comes to being able to hit your target under a high degree of stress, which is what you're going to be under when bad guys are trying to hurt you or hurt your family, you want to get yourself into a training class. And, a good 2-day, 8 hours, 10 hours a day for one weekend is a great place to start. And there's lots of places you can go. If you're out west, we recommend somebody like Gunsight. If you're in the People's Republic, if you happen to still live in the People's Republic of California, Scotty Reitz has a school called ITTS, International Tactical Training Schools. Look them up. They're down in the Los Angeles area. Or look up Scotty Reitz. They've got a good program out there. If you're out in the West, in the Arizona type area, you want to go ahead and head on up to Gunsight. Get yourself a Gunsight class up there, to 2 or 3 day course from Gunsight. Now, if you are all the way in the Midwest, check out our friends at TDI Ohio. That's Tango Delta India Ohio. TDIOhio.com. That's John Benner and the Tactical Defense Institute up there in Ohio. John has a fantastic facility. He's got a great group of instructors up there, and you can't go wrong. I've taken several classes from John, and he's just a downright good guy. Good training, very practical stuff. In the Kentucky, Tennessee, Mississippi, Alabama area, Arkansas, get on over to Camden, Tennessee, and check out Tactical Response. James Yeager, Jay Gibson, and all my buddies up there. You can take a class from them, fighting pistol, fighting rifle, and so forth. Now, how about down here in the South, Jared? Down here in the South.
Student of the Gun University?
Yeah, Student of the Gun University. Yeah, I know we're teasing you right now. But we actually are in negotiations right now to use a new range. So keep an ear out for that. But there are a lot of good schools out there, a lot of places that you can go. And what we'll tell you guys is you'll never regret. I don't know anyone who's ever regretted going to a school. Now, you might dread it initially. You're like, oh, I got to take the time, and I got to buy the ammo, and I got to drive up there. But I can guarantee you, if it's any of the schools that we just discussed, at the end of the 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 days, however long the class is, the experience itself is worth probably 10 times what you paid for it. It really will be. It's an experience that you have to, you pay to go there, but it's almost a priceless experience. And it's always good to get out of your own pond, get out of your own comfort zone. Get off of your own range where you feel comfortable and go somewhere else and force yourself to grow. You can't grow your muscles by keeping your muscles comfortable. They only atrophy if they're kept comfortable. You have to stress them out every once in a while. So stress out your training muscles and get yourself into a good school. We've got a lot of good schools out there. Now, folks, what that's going to do is that's going to bring us right up to the end of this segment of Student of the Gun Radio. We sure appreciate you being with Jared and I, taking the time to listen. Don't forget about Student of the Gun TV. That's Dish Network Channel 266, Monday nights at 9 o'clock Eastern Time. That's 9 p.m. Eastern on Dish 266 if you got Dish Network. If you don't, go ahead and pop on the internet there and go to studentofthegun.com. You can watch videos. You can download our app for what? For free, a mobile app for your iPad, your iPhone, your Android phone, whatever you've got there. Download it for free. You can listen to the radio, watch videos, read articles, all that good stuff every week. And there's always new material. Every single week there's new material up on the app, so check that out. Now, folks, we certainly appreciate you being with us, and we want to encourage you to be a beginner once, but a student for life.